So let me tell you two stories from this week. They're completely unrelated on the surface. So I am engaging a publicist because I'm trying to get a US visa. I need to get some publicity pulled together for an application. And he's someone I know. And it was really funny. He made this comment to me. He was like, Renee, I've known you for a while now, and you're kind of really weird in this industry because you never seem to want publicity. Like, you don't like to talk about yourself. You don't like to be acknowledged or noticed, but you're an actor, which kind of, is fair. And then the second thing that happened, completely unrelated, is I was running this massive teaching session at the uni, and somebody was watching it and said how great it was, and made the comment that one of my colleagues who'd been helping me, that they had done such a great job because they didn't actually know that I was in charge of organizing it. And Abigail was there, and she heard it, and she actually really wanted to defend me and be like, oh, no, Renee organized the event. But she kind of thought about it, and she realized, actually, you know what? Renee would probably be quite happy that this other person got the credit and would be like, yeah, you're right, she did a great job. And she asked me, you would do that, wouldn't you? And I said, yeah. And she asked me why. And I think actually the two interactions ended up being kind of the same comment about me, which is, I really like being anonymous. I like not really being focused on. And the logical reasons as to why, seem very altruistic and very what's the word? Very giving. I don't like to take credit. I don't like the focus to be on me. The reality is being anonymous is actually kind of really useful for lots of reasons. It's easier. There aren't all of the crazy logistics of having to deal with telling people what you're doing and when and where and, talking about that sort of stuff. Or it's quite powerful in some of the work I do, because if people don't know me by reputation and don't kind of think of me as being like an important person, I often get better information. And when I'm working with people on themselves, they tend to be a lot more honest. I'm also not competing with anybody, so nobody feels threatened by me. So I can kind of get into more doors than like a lot of my friends and colleagues who probably are a little bit more well known. Being anonymous is also kind of useful just from the fact that, I don't have to think about all the logistics that go with being important. So all of the kind of interviews and things that I'd have to add to my schedule, which I must admit I probably don't prioritize. But the reality is, if I really push myself, they all sound like good reasons and, yay, great to be anonymous, and oh, look at me kind of overcoming my sense of ego and needing to be special. And I probably need to be a little bit more honest with myself, because the first thing I would say is, I think one of the reasons I end up being anonymous is because I, as a child, was surrounded by quite a few people that really liked attention, that liked to talk about themselves, that often were perhaps boastful or kind of wanted the limelight or seemed to look down on other people. And those people had a big impact on my life, and it wasn't always good. And I think I have convinced myself that being someone who takes credit and stands out the front is a bad thing, which it's not. It's actually not bad at all. It's actually really important to do, and it's really powerful if you just, do it in the right ways. And the second reason that I actually think I like being anonymous is that by not taking credit for things, you also don't have to deal with the feedback. You don't have to deal with the fallout. You don't have to deal with the judgments or the opinions. So I think part of me is also protecting myself from ever having to maybe own up to who I am, which is probably just a little bit less cool than the other reasons.